All right, so today we're going to be looking at predictions,
Okay.
and specifically, we're going to be looking at UFC 311
You're right.
and the fight between Tagir Ulanbekov and Clayton Carpenter.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, and you send over all this information, all this data about expert predictions and betting odds, and it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, it's like we have a cheat sheet for the future almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, not really, of course.
Yeah.
But
it gives us some insight into
right, how are people thinking about this?
Yeah, exactly. How are people thinking about this fight and who's going to win and why?
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's more than just who hits harder.
Right.
It's about styles and their stats and their history.
Yeah.
And kind of predicting what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. We've got a real clash of styles here.
We do.
We've got Tagir Ulanbekov,
Yeah.
Pakistani grappling specialist, coming in as the favorite.
Yes.
And the odds makers have him anywhere from -198 to -370.
Which means they think he's got a real strong chance of winning.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty clear indication that they think that he's got the upper hand.
Yeah. And, his grappling is really something else.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, he is a master of taking the fight to the ground.
Right.
He's got 8 submission wins out of 15 victories.
Yeah. That's what really stands out.
Yeah. And he's known for those guillotine chokes the face cranks. I mean,
You don't want to be in there with him.
if you're not comfortable on the mat, you do not want to mess with this guy.
You almost need to be a contortionist.
Yeah.
Just to get out of those submissions.
Exactly.
But then we have Clayton Carpenter
Yes.
coming in as the underdog
He is.
with odds between +205 and +285.
Right.
And he's known for being this really well-rounded fighter, good striking, solid grappling,
Mm-hmm.
a threat everywhere.
And that's what makes this fight so exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, his versatility could really throw Ulanbekov off his game.
Yeah.
We've seen it time and time again. Underdogs come in and pull off these upsets,
Right.
especially when they're able to make their opponent fight outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah, so let's unpack these fighters a little bit more.
Okay.
Let's start with Ulanbekov,
Okay.
30 years old,
Yep.
70-inch reach,
Mm-hmm.
and that impressive 15-2-0 record that we talked about.
It's quite a record.
But those 8 submission wins.
Yeah.
I mean, what makes his grappling so effective?
Well, I mean, it's a specific technique, or is it just the way he controls the fight?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's really a combination of factors.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this fantastic chain wrestling.
Okay.
So he's just relentless with those takedown attempts.
Yeah.
He's always looking for a way to get you to the ground.
So he's always on the attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once he's there, the control is phenomenal.
Wow.
He's a master of transitioning, to those dominant positions. And then, boom, he locks in those fight-ending submissions.
So he's not just looking to take you down. He's looking to
Break you down
yeah.
on that mat.
Now, Clayton Carpenter,
Yes.
on the other hand, a little younger,
He is 28.
28, a little shorter reach, 66 inches,
Mm-hmm.
but still undefeated,
Yeah.
8-0.
And what's interesting is he's got a mix of KOs and submissions.
He does.
He can finish the fight in so many ways.
Yeah, he's a finisher in different ways.
Does that make him harder to predict?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, a fighter who can end the fight both standing up and on the ground,
Right.
that's a wild card,
Yeah.
He keeps his opponents guessing.
So he's got that aggressive style
Very aggressive.
that you just don't know what's coming next.
You never know what he's going to do. Is he going for a big punch or slick submission? You just don't know.
So we've got the master grappler
Yes.
versus this really dynamic, multi-talented up-and-comer.
Yeah.
To get a better sense of how they're performing lately, let's take a look at their recent fight history.
Okay.
So you've got a table here showing their last 4 fights.
Mm-hmm.
Ulanbekov is coming off a submission win against Cody Durden.
Yeah.
And before that, another submission victory over Nathan Munnis in the first round.
I mean, those wins really show just how dangerous he is on the ground.
Yeah.
He's on a roll with those submissions.
And that momentum.
The momentum is huge in this sport.
Yeah, it's like he's building this reputation.
Yeah.
Like, don't let this guy get you on the ground.
Exactly. Like, stay on your feet at all costs.
Right. And then we look at Carpenter.
Okay.
And his last fight was an impressive submission to punches victory
Wow.
over Julian Vargas.
First round finish.
First round.
Yeah.
And before that, he knocked out Julian Lopez.
That's what I'm talking about. His versatility.
Yeah.
He's not just winning in different ways.
Yeah.
He's finishing fights convincingly.
Yeah, he's not just, squeaking by
Oh.
with decisions or anything.
He's making a statement.
Yeah.
And that's got to be playing on Ulanbekov's mind.
Right. It's like this mental game as well.
It is, absolutely.
It's a chess match
Right.
where both players are constantly threatening checkmate.
That's a good way to put it.
So with all of these contrasting styles
Mm-hmm.
and these recent successes, how do the experts even begin to predict who's going to win this fight?
Right.
Is it just a matter of crunching numbers?
What?
Or is there a more nuanced approach?
It's got to be more than just numbers, right? It's
Yeah?
not that simple. You have to think about the strategies involved,
Okay.
and the mental game,
Right.
and even a little bit of intuition.
Yeah.
Having watched fighters for so many years, you kind of get a feel for these things.
So you're looking for patterns
Mm-hmm.
and tendencies,
Yep.
maybe even weaknesses that can be exploited.
Exactly.
It sounds like there's a lot of subjectivity involved, even for the experts.
There is, and that's what makes it so challenging and ultimately so fascinating.
Yeah.
You can have all the data in the world,
Mm-hmm.
but there's always that element of the unknown,
Right.
especially in a sport like MMA.
Yeah. So let's try and get inside the minds of these experts a little bit.
Okay.
What do you think Ulanbekov's game plan is going to be?
I think he's going to want to take this fight to the ground. I mean, that's where he excels, right?
Right.
So he'll probably use his striking
Mm.
just to set up those takedowns.
Mm.
He'll be patient, waiting for the right opportunity to close the distance,
Right.
clinch up, and then use that wrestling to drag Carpenter down.
So it's not just about being a good grappler.
No.
It's about creating the right scenario to
Exactly.
use that grappling.
That's where fight IQ comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Ulanbekov is a very intelligent fighter. He knows how to use his strengths
Okay.
to neutralize his opponents
Right.
and dictate that pace of the fight.
But Carpenter's not just going to stand there
No,
and let himself get taken down, is he?
I don't think so.
What kind of counter strategy do you think he might employ?
Well, he's got to use his footwork and his striking to keep Ulanbekov at bay.
Right.
Maintain that distance circle away from those takedown attempts.
Yeah.
Punish Ulanbekov if he gets too close.
Okay.
He's got to make him pay for every advance.
And if he can keep the fight standing, he's got a chance to land some of those power shots
He does.
that have earned him those knockout victories in the past.
Exactly. And that knockout power could be a real difference maker in this fight.
But he can't just be on the defensive.
No, he can't just be backing up the whole time.
He's got to be aggressive enough to keep Ulanbekov guessing.
Right. Keep him on his toes. Make him think twice about those takedowns.
So it's a balancing act for Carpenter.
It is a real tightrope walk.
He's got to be cautious of that grappling,
Mm-hmm.
but also assertive enough to capitalize on his own striking advantage.
It's the classic dilemma,
Yeah.
for any well-rounded fighter
Right.
going up against a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play to your strengths or do you try to neutralize your opponent's strengths?
Right.
It's a fascinating tactical battle.
And the experts have weighed all these factors.
Yeah.
They've made their predictions.
And what are they saying?
They're saying Ulanbekov's going to win this fight.
Okay.
They're predicting a submission victory in the second round.
That makes sense. I mean, his grappling is proven at the highest level.
Yeah, he submitted some top-ranked fighters.
Exactly.
And Carpenter, while he has shown decent takedown defense,
Mm-hmm.
he hasn't really faced a grappler of this caliber yet.
That's true. This is a real step up in competition for him.
So the experience factor might be tilting the scales in Ulanbekov's favor.
It could be.
But what's really intriguing is the betting odds.
Yeah.
You've got a breakdown here of the suggested picks,
Mm-hmm.
and it really gives you an insight into how these predictions translate into the world of wagering.
Yeah, it's a whole other level of analysis.
Yeah.
But it can be really insightful.
Yeah.
The odds reflect the bookmaker's assessment
Right.
of the probabilities,
Mm-hmm.
but they also take into account how the betting public is perceiving the fight.
So it's not just pure data.
No, it's
Oh.
a mix of data and public sentiment.
Interesting. Okay, so let's break down these betting options.
Okay.
The first one is simply Ulanbekov to win,
Hmm.
and the odds are minus 240. So if you want to win $100,
Yeah.
you'd have to bet $240 on Ulanbekov.
So that tells you he's the clear favorite.
Yeah.
The payout's relatively low
Right.
because the perceived risk is lower.
Then there's the bet on the fight ending inside the distance,
Okay.
which has odds of minus 120.
That one's interesting because both fighters have a history of finishing fights.
Yeah.
You got Ulanbekov with his submissions,
Right.
Carpenter with his mix of knockouts and submissions.
Okay.
So it's not unreasonable to think that this fight won't go the full 3 rounds.
Next, we have Ulanbekov to win by submission
Okay.
with odds of plus 150.
So that's considered the most likely method of victory for Ulanbekov,
Right.
given his track record.
Right.
The payout's a bit higher because
Yeah.
it's a more specific bet. You're not just betting on him to win,
Yeah.
you're betting on how he'll win.
And lastly, we have the long shot bet.
Okay.
Carpenter to win by KO
Ooh.
with odds of plus 400.
Wow.
That means a $100 bet could win you $400.
That's a high-risk, high-reward bet.
Yeah.
Ulanbekov has never been knocked out in
Right.
his professional career.
Mm-hmm.
But if Carpenter can keep the fight standing
Right.
and land one of those power shots,
Yeah.
well, that's why they call it gambling.
It's fascinating to see how the odds reflect the different paths to victory.
It really is.
So it's not just about picking a winner.
No.
It's about understanding how that winner might emerge.
Yeah. It really makes you think, about all the different ways a fight can go.
It does.
So we've talked about the fighters and their styles, their recent performance, the expert predictions, and even the betting odds.
We've really covered it all.
Like, we've dissected this fight from every angle.
We have.
But at the end of the day, anything can happen in the octagon.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
That's the beauty of this sport.
It's unpredictable.
Yeah, one well-timed punch, one slip-up, one moment of brilliance can change the whole course of a fight.
It's that element of chaos.
That makes it so compelling.
For sure.
We can analyze and predict all we want.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's the fighters
Right.
who determine the outcome.
They're the ones in there, putting it all on the line.
Right, and that's what makes it so exciting for the fans.
Exactly.
We can sit here, and break it all down.
Yeah.
But when those two step into the cage,
Yeah.
it's a whole different ballgame.
It's a different world in there.
So, knowing all this, if you were a betting person,
Okay.
where would you put your money?
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
Would you go with Ulanbekov and his grappling dominance? Or do you see a path to victory for Carpenter and his, well-rounded skill set?
Well, Ulanbekov's grappling is a serious threat.
Yeah.
And his experience at this level, it gives him an edge.
Right.
But Carpenter's versatility
Mm-hmm.
and his finishing ability,
Right.
they make him a dangerous underdog.
Yeah.
If I had to choose,
Okay.
I'd probably lean towards Ulanbekov.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Carpenter pulled off the upset.
So you're saying don't count Carpenter out.
Don't count him out. He's undefeated for a reason.
Right.
This is a real test for him.
Yeah.
But he's shown that he can rise to the occasion.
This is going to be a fascinating fight.
It is.
We've seen how data analysis and expert insights can shed light on potential outcomes.
Right.
And the betting odds.
Yeah.
They give us a glimpse into those, perceived probabilities.
They do.
But ultimately, it's the clash of wills,
Yeah.
the strategic adjustments, and those unpredictable moments of brilliance that determine the winner.
Absolutely.
And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
Every single time.
Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
It's been a pleasure.
Now we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Who do you think will win this fight?
Let us know.
Are you Team Ulanbekov or Team Carpenter?
And what betting option are you most intrigued by?
Let us know in the comments.
We're eager to hear your predictions.
Yeah, we're eager to hear your predictions and your insights